if you want me to take off my shirt and twirl around my
Do
head,
you usually, where do they do that? Is that like an outfield
everywhere?
activity, or? Oh, wow.
But mostly the bleachers.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks drinking beer out of a shoe. That's where you're going to see most of the shirts coming off.
My joke to myself is that I never wanted to be the 30-year-old guy who tears his Achilles playing pickup basketball, and I'm not quite there.
This does not get any easier as you get older, and it takes longer and longer to come back from these things.
The amount of times that I've been asked to work on penalties is comical at this point. They just are so motivated. And
was it a little heartbreaking watching the team lose in the final, though? I mean, they played so well. It was just, it comes down to penalties.
Yeah, sadly, I'm familiar with that. So.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Rapport. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. Today on the show, the head coaches of UVM's field hockey and women's soccer teams join us for a preseason preview. I'm on set with producer Nathaniel Wilson. Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey, Mitch.
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I could be feeling a little better, though.
Okay, why? What's going on with you, bud?
So I got a sports injury recently.
No.
I know.
You're young, you're spry. This is not supposed to happen to you. What happened?
I was playing Frisbee League. I ran into one of my teammates, and I sprained my rotator cuff on my right shoulder a couple weeks ago.
Ouch. So you ran into your own teammate?
I did.
You just miscommunication, both going
More
for
than
the disc?
Right? Teammate, friend, colleague, Carly Berlin, housing reporter for Vermont Public. I crashed into Carly.
I don't care about you. How's Carly doing?
Carly's doing completely fine.
Of course, she's fine.
That's what I was happy about. I was like, I'll take it. In Frisbee, there are no picks. Right? Picks are against the rules in Frisbee. So when you're running, there's like the stack of people in the middle.
Yep.
You want to run away from the people because if your defender runs into someone, it's a pick and it's a call. And so it wasn't a legal play that it happened on, but that doesn't change that my shoulder is still pretty sore.
I'm sorry, man. What can you do for that? I mean, have you seen the doctor?
Therapy, ice, ibuprofen, the regular stuff. It's funny, Mitch. I had taken a couple years off, like 2 years off from Frisbee before I went back, and I'm playing in the Vermont mixed competitive summer league this summer. And 29 now, turning 30 later this year. Yeah. And so my joke to myself is that I never wanted to be the 30-year-old guy who tears his Achilles playing pickup basketball. And I'm not quite there because I didn't tear my rotator cuff, but I'm almost there. I got hurt.
I mean, it sounds bad. I will tell you that
it sounds a lot worse than it is, I would say.
It is better this happened when you're 29.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, being advanced in a few years from you, this does not get any easier as you get older, and it takes longer and longer to come back from these things. I remember breaking my wrist once playing in a floor hockey league, actually. Yeah. And the thing about it was I may have been tripped. I don't really remember. I fell on the wrist, and it hurt bad at the time. And I went to the doctor later that night because it really hurt. Yeah. Got x-rays, and they said, well, it doesn't look like you broke it. So, we're going to wrap it up, and they sent me home. A couple of pain pills, that was it. I didn't sleep a wink that night because it was throbbing. So I said, this is crazy. Why does this hurt so bad? Turns out the next day they call me back and they say, we took a second look at your x-ray. You do have a hairline fracture. 6 weeks in a cast after that.
Gosh. I've broken each wrist like 2 or 3 times each from playing
sports. Really?
And I fractured a rib playing Frisbee years ago. It's funny, like, there was one time I had a knee injury. This is when I was playing travel soccer in high school. And so I was out for weeks. I was on crutches, right? I was doing physical therapy, the whole thing. I remember I went to physical therapy after school one day. It was my last day of PT. I got cleared by my physical therapist. I had a game that evening, right? And so they were like, you're good. You're all cleared to play. I go and I play in the game. And so this is my knee that had been bothering me. Pretty much like right off the bat in the game, I got tackled from behind and broke my wrist just in the first game back. Yeah.
So forget about the knee.
Yeah. The knee was all good. Oh. Yeah. That's just been kind of my story in sports, though. I always just pick up something small or major.
Here's the big question, though. It's still worth it, though, right? Like, would you take it? But you wouldn't take it back or anything.
No, like
Same
it's fine.
Here, man.
Especially like that stuff when I was a teenager, you don't care, right?
You bounce back so much better from it.
Using crutches, you just bounce back. It does get tougher the older you get, and so at some point I do need to probably hang up the boots, but
not yet. Man.
Not before I pick up a couple more years. Right?
No question about it. Thank you for sharing that story with us, and I hope that you're feeling better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have to talk about the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah,
very
speaking
briefly.
of sports injuries, right? They got guys up and down the IL.
Up and down. I am waiting for some of them to come back. If we could just get Roman Anthony back healthy. I'm sort of giving up on Garrett Crochet, but I probably shouldn't because I've already started throwing again. Anyway, the Red Sox, who have been so remarkable, we've talked about their incredible turnaround this season. They finally came down to earth a little bit. They ended up losing 2 out of 3 to the, not Oakland anymore, just the Athletics, because they're playing Sacramento now.
Athletics.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. But anyway, they lose 2 out of 3 to them. So it doesn't ruin anything about their huge comeback. They are still the fastest team to get from under 500 by 14 games to 13 games over 500.
Wow.
They did it in just a 44-game span, Nathaniel. That is the fastest record of getting back over 500 in Major League Baseball history. Remarkable.
Yeah, and these 2 losses that they picked up versus the Athletics are their only 2 losses in their last 10 games. And so they were on that incredibly long heater, took a little break from winning, and then we're just right back to it, including...
And by the way, another 9-game heater.
Yeah, I want to hear from you about this, the last game they had in the White Sox series last week, the one that went late.
That was fantastic. I ended up watching that whole game. I'm so glad I did. And there were a number of reasons I love this game. First of all, Red Sox win it 12-11 in 13 innings.
Wow.
Which is pretty rare these days because of the new hideous, awful rule about putting a ghost runner on base in extra innings.
The ghost runner rule.
Can't stand it. Still, they refused, both teams, to cater to that. It kept going back and back. The Red Sox came back from 5 different deficits in that game. They were trailing in the 9th. They tied it up. Trailing in the 10th, tied it, 11th, 12th, finally won it in the 13th inning in a walk-off single by Caleb Durbin. It was one of those games where you just felt like the magic for this team is continuing. It was a joy to watch. Yeah, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Athletics, but look, you got to come down, sooner or later from that. You're not going to win every game. They are in a remarkable position now. They are a full 6 games, I think, in the wild card with that cushion to get there. Whether or not they win the division, which is still doable, who knows? A lot of baseball left. But they're still doing great. I'm hoping this is not going to start a losing spate for them. But again, if they can start getting some guys back from injury, they are going to be that much better. And we still have not seen Adley Rutschman, the new catcher they picked up from Baltimore, play yet. He did do a rehab stint for Worcester and played great. Had a double, I think, and a single in that game, and threw out a runner on the base path. So I can't wait to see him play for the big club.
I don't follow the MLB closely, but as this streak has been going on, it's been tough to ignore, especially in these parts. You would think that the Red Sox would do well in extra inning games under kind of the way that this team has been playing on the streak, right? Because the thing that I have been hearing about this team is kind of their embrace of small ball that we were maybe not seeing earlier in the year.
Well, bunt if we have to, move a guy over, absolutely. Yeah, and that's terrific. The other really weird thing about this whole winning streak is and you brought this up actually in the pre-production meeting today, if you look at their home record, they're still 2 games under 500, even with that 15-game winning streak, even with the 9-game winning streak to follow. That was the calling card at the beginning of this season when they were so terrible, they kept losing at home. And I think I said this before, but even terrible Red Sox teams in the past always had a winning record at home because Fenway Park, you played to those strengths, you played to the monster. So they still have work to do to get that record over 500 at home.
It helps, though, when they are winning on the road at the clip that they are, because we were looking at the stats earlier, and they have the highest win percentage on the road of the whole league. They're winning, I think, over 61% of games on the road, which is ridiculous.
Amazing. Even better than the LA Dodgers. Yeah, which is pretty terrific.
Are you going to make it out to a game this regular season before it ends, do you think?
I am so glad you asked me that.
Because I know what the answer would have been 2 months ago.
Oh, I would have said, maybe not. Because every year I try to get to at least one game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go in September, actually. We're going to see them play Cleveland.
Nice.
I'm very excited. I hope it's an electric atmosphere still. I hope they're still in playoff position. But I am so excited to feel that charge at Fenway that you get when the team's really doing well and everyone's into it and it's packed. Yeah, no,
I've seen a couple videos on Twitter of the atmosphere, and it's funny. It almost feels like 2 different worlds this season that the team has been having, because it's almost like we're seeing the exact opposite now that we were at the beginning of the year, and not even in terms of the play on the field, but in terms of the energy at the arena, the energy in the clubhouse, but also the fans and the way that they are treating and respecting this team. I mean, this is a team that had chance of sell the team earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
That cleaned house in terms of
You're right.
manager, assistant coaches, bullpen coaches, whatever. And they have turned it around. Like, I think at this point, it's tough to say that it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's almost remarkable. It's almost like they didn't even have that beginning of the season.
Yeah.
There. I have to ask you one more quick thing. So you've watched a few of the games, maybe seen some stuff happening at the game. Have you seen this new thing now where they call taking off the tarps, where a bunch of guys in the stands will take off their shirts and start whipping them around their heads?
I've heard about this. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not a fan. But when I go to the game, if you want me to, I would do this for you, nobody else. If you want me to take off my shirt and twirl it around my head,
where do they do that? Is that like an outfield
everywhere?
Oh, wow.
But mostly the bleachers.
Yeah. See
that mostly in the bleachers.
I was going to say.
As Liam Elder-Cotter, who was on our show a couple weeks ago, folks drinking beer out of a shoe, that's where you're going to see most of the shirts coming off. I would only do that for you, though, just so you know. And it's probably not going to happen.
We'll see in September.
If you're with us on YouTube and you're enjoying the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a comment as well. It really helps us out. And if you're listening via radio or podcast, we encourage you to check out the video version of our show at youtube.com/@sportsrapportvt. If you want to hear more about what's happening in Vermont sports, you're in the right place. And it's time for the High Five, the segment where we count down 5 of the biggest stories from the last week in Vermont sports. At number 5, the UVM men's soccer team has been ranked 13th in the nation, according to the United Soccer Coaches Poll, ahead of their season opener August 20th. If the Catamounts need any extra motivation, it is also the first time in 3 years the team has not been predicted to win the America East Championship. The Coaches Poll has UVM behind the Bryant Bulldogs, the team that defeated Vermont in the last 2 conference title games.
At number 4, brand new American Basketball Association club, the Burlington Revolution, announced its first slate of player signings over the weekend. The group includes Burlington's own Kevin Garrison, a former UVM player and multi-sport star at Burlington High School, Malik Franklin, an Enosburg High School graduate and Vermont State champion in 2017, and Jackson McCoy, a former U32 standout who played college ball at the University of New England. McCoy is no stranger to the ABA. He notched over 400 points and averaged 24 a night, along with 10 rebounds for the VT Coyotes last season.
At number 3, Camel's Hump Little League All-Star pitcher Mickey Brown threw a complete game shutout, giving up just 2 hits in a 1-0 defeat of Portsmouth, New Hampshire in the opening round of the New England Regional Little League Baseball Tournament in Bristol, Connecticut, Saturday. The Vermont All-Stars had a tougher time today against Bridgewater. They fell 11-1, but they're still alive in the double elimination tournament. Camel's Hump can advance with a win in the semifinal against the state champs from Maine on Wednesday.
At number 2, former UVM soccer player and 2024 national champion Max Murray scored his first goal for Major League Soccer's New York City Football Club yesterday in a loss to Cruz Azul in the League's Cup. Murray got way up to head in a cross delivered by Nico Fernandez Marcao on a free kick during the first half stoppage time. The former Catamount has started in both of NYCFC's League's Cup group matches this month, and they'll next face Club Necaxa on Thursday.
And coming in at number 1, the Vermont Lake Monsters wrapped up their regular season with a flourish on Saturday, routing the Nashua Silver Knights 14-5 at Centennial Field behind starting pitcher Alex Feeney, who went 5 innings without giving up a run, allowing just 2 hits overall. The Monsters roar into tonight's semifinal best-of-3 playoff series against the Worcester Bravehearts, having won a staggering 22 of their last 25 regular season games. Vermont finishes the season with a Futures League best record of 42 wins, 15 losses, and 1 tie. I'm in studio with Kate Pfeifer, the head coach for UVM's field hockey team. Hey, Kate, great to be with you.
Great to be here, Mitch. Thanks for having me.
Also with us is Kristi Huizenga, the UVM women's soccer head coach. Great to be with you, Kristi.
Thank you, Mitch. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the seasons you both have coming up. But first, let me start with the off season for both of you. Did you get a chance to relax at all? Does a head coach get to relax in the off season? Kate, what'd you do?
Well, we spent some time recruiting, of course. It's our big recruiting season. A lot of big showcases and events happening in the summertime. So we spent some time as a staff down in Virginia Beach at our big national tournament that happens there over the course of 2 weeks. But I also spent some time over in the Adirondacks with my family. And then, of course, we spent a lot of time at Virtue Field supporting the green. My husband, Adam, is the sporting director. So our kids are big fans, and we love supporting both the men and the women this summer.
The green, did they have a good season? How'd they do this year?
It was a pretty great season. So
Back to back. Fantastic. It sounds like you had a nice off season. Kristi, what about you? Did you get a chance to have some downtime, or was it all prepping for this season?
Mostly prepping, but definitely squeezed in a little bit of downtime. Headed to the beaches in Maine a little bit, which was nice. Same thing as Kate, getting on the road recruiting a little bit in between. And of course, same thing at a lot of the Vermont green games. Actually enjoyed calling all of the women's home games this year.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that.
Kate
did a
and
great
Adam
job.
and the green, it was a lot of fun.
Imagine so. That must have been thrilling calling those games.
It was fun. And of course, Brian McLaughlin, who does all the play-by-play, he just makes it so easy. Anytime I've ever had to jump in and call games either at UVM or for the green, he makes it pretty seamless.
Yeah, I'll bet. Was it a little heartbreaking watching the team lose in the final, though? I mean, they played so well. It was just, comes down to penalties.
Yeah, sadly, I'm familiar with that. So.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Kate, let me ask you, you're entering your 4th year as head coach, or are you entering your 5th year as head coach?
this is actually going to be my 12th season.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
I didn't realize it had been that
That's okay.
long.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the winningest coach in program history. I do know that. And last year, making it back to the America East Championship game, losing that game, what does that mean when you come that close and getting ready for this season? Is there a motivational factor there?
Oh, for sure. I think the feelings, associated with that match and just the way it played out at home on our pitch against a rival in UNH that we were playing, the players are holding on to that. The alums who've left us, as well as the current players, it's definitely a spot that they want to get back to, hosting the final at UVM and having an opportunity in front of our fans to be able to win that game and hoist a trophy. That's really what they're shooting for this season. And I think it was a fantastic experience for the players at the time we were playing in double overtime at the time when the game finished. And to get to that point, again, we didn't get quite to penalties, but, they had put 90 minutes plus out on the pitch and they remember it.
Yeah, and you have to go through those losses, right? I mean, I know it's tough, but it helps you grow as a team and it creates resilience, I would think.
That's right. I think those moments are huge for growth, to be able to stay together as a team and as a program and understand that what they accomplished wasn't minimized at all by that loss in that moment, and just be able to zoom out and see the big picture for the path that we're on as a program was huge. I think it was a big learning process for them.
Kristi Huizenga, I wonder if you've talked with Kate about this, because you went through something very similar with UVM's team last year, making it to the title game, then losing in penalties to Maine. I can imagine that's devastating at the moment. Do you use that experience coming into this year to help motivate your team?
Yeah, the amount of times that I've been asked to work on penalties from the moment that happened all the way through now, and it's still ongoing, is comical at this point. They just are so motivated. And, with penalties, it's just one of those things that sometimes no matter how much you train them and how ready you feel, it goes the way it goes. So,
well, that's what I wanted to ask you. When you say the team wants to work on penalties, how do you work on that? Because, look, I don't know the most about soccer. And every 4 years, of course, I become the biggest fan when the World Cup comes around. What an incredible tournament that was this year. But I always do wonder, is it just almost like a coin flip? It can't be, right?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's as simple as that, but I know you guys probably have something similar, Kate, but there's for sure skill involved in it, and it's a lot of repetition, but it's a lot of mentality also. And there could just be so many factors that change just depending on the goalkeeper's approach to the situation and what the players are feeling in that moment. Fatigue, are they fresh? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of factors for sure.
The goalkeeper's approach is what really I'm so curious about. What can the keeper do, if anything, to get inside the head of the opponent taking that shot?
They'll do so many things. I mean, they have, you name it, they have PK notes written on their water bottles that they'll look at.
Seriously?
They will stall to try to freeze up the shooter. They will try to get big and animated to try to psych out a shooter. They will try to make it look like they're jumping early one way and then go the other way. There's a lot of things. I mean, the shooters have some things that they can pull too, but there's a lot of mind games for sure that go back and forth.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Kate, you had alluded to this. I guess I didn't realize there are penalties in field hockey as well.
So we have penalty strokes that happen during the course of the game. If a player stops a ball with their body on the end line behind the goalkeeper, then they'll award a penalty shot from a 7-meter mark. And that's stationary, so more similar to penalty kicks in soccer. And what we have in overtime is a shootout, which is more similar to ice hockey. The player starts at the 25-yard line, and it's a 1v goalkeeper, and it's more live, and it's really exciting. I think
it sounds amazingly exciting.
It really is.
I happen to love the shootouts in hockey in regular season when they decide those. It can be just thrilling.
That's right, and it takes a lot of skill. And as Kristi alluded to, the mentality of the players, the freshness of them is definitely a factor. And when we're training those, you do a round of 5, and you are best of 5 in that, and then you go to sudden victory. So, you can rearrange your players when you go to the second round for sudden victory, but you have to keep the same 5 players in circulation. So, when we're training, we're thinking about the order, we're thinking about the mentality of those players. On a typical day, we're monitoring things in real time, but we do try to work through that rotation on a regular basis through the season.
Nature of the sport, though, field hockey, is that most of the games do not result in those penalty situations you're talking about. Is that fair to say?
I'd say so. This year we're actually moving toward, we used to go to a 7-a-side structure. So we take a few players off the field and see if you could elicit a result from that. Mm-hmm. And we've moved away from that this season. We're going to play a regular 10-minute period, 11-a-side, and then go right to penalties. So remains to be seen if more games are going to get to that point. A lot of results were decided in the 7-a-side period when there's more space and more fatigue happening on the field.
How do these rule changes affect your preparation going into the season?
I think it's kind of nice to not have to train that. Honestly, we have a lot of international players, and they've never played that style of 7-a-side. That was an American-born thing. So, it was sort of a brand new concept for them. It was an element that, we would try to work into training, but we didn't always have as much time to spend on it as other things. So, I think that it's changing things a little bit, but it's allowing us to focus on the fundamentals of the true sport with 11-a-side. And I think it's a nice thing for us to think about how we get a result if we get into an overtime period. How can we change what we're doing, our structure, our tactics, to be able to come out on top?
Yeah. Kristi Huizenga, I'm wondering, when it comes to creating a successful season off the back of another season, one of the things that always has to enter a coach's mind is returning players against players you may be losing who graduated. Who are some players that you're so glad you're having back this year, and maybe some players you wish you could have for at least one more season?
It's always the interesting question of, when you graduate seniors, you only have them for so long, and it always feels like they're just starting to hit their stride and, of course, peaking. And then when that happens, they're gone. So that's always the off-season plan, is to just get the new players ready and hope your freshmen are ready to go. And I think, certainly this year we're leaning on our 3 captains for sure. Maddie Gardner, who was an all-conference player for us last year, Bridget Kennedy, all-conference player for us last year in the back, and Emma Warren, who was just a tremendous leader, a player that you just have to peel off the field because she's just so valuable end to end. And, those 3 were a big impact last year. We expect them to be a big impact again this year, not just with their performance, but also with their leadership. They're just really quality leaders, and and quality people. And then, of course, you're going to miss the Lauren DeGroots of the world.
We're going to miss her too. We had her on the Sports Report, and she was wonderful. And we were sad to hear that she was leaving.
Yeah, a lot of goals, between Lauren and Sydney, but
that would be Sydney Remington.
Sydney Remington,
yeah.
But looking back to the previous year, we also graduated Kate Bossert and Bailey Eyre, who combined, I think, for 18 or 19 of our 32 goals at the time.
Oh my gosh, wow.
That group of seniors last year did an amazing job replacing those two. And so I think it really gave this group this year a lot of confidence that we replaced this before, we can replace it again. I think we also graduated the goalkeeper of the year for the conference, Kylie Carafoli. So we'll have some big shoes to fill in goal, but it's a challenge I think the team is really looking forward to.
But, you're building on a winning culture with UVM, which is great because that seems to follow through and make these teams stronger as they go on. We're speaking with Kristi Huizenga, the head coach for UVM's women's soccer team, and also Kate Pfeifer is with us, the head coach for UVM's field hockey team. Kate, kind of the same question to you that I was asking of Kristi there. Returning players, let's see. It looks like Virla Nehois, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly.
Yep.
She was the America East Rookie of the Year last year as a freshman. She's coming back, right?
That's right. Virla's with us, and she's doing a fantastic job so far through these first 4 days that we've been training together. Just really bringing the team together. And I'd say our new players, the younger players, she has a year under her belt, but she has some of the best skill on the team. So she's really showing the way to those young players and, again, serving in a leadership role for us, setting the tone in training. And she's a wonderful, just aware athlete. I would say she can see the bigger picture of what we're trying to do, and she can really connect the dots as players are trying to, sort of settle in and sort themselves out during preseason.
That's great. Are there any players you wish you could have back that are graduating this year? Probably more than one.
Yeah, it's really hard. We've had 2 incredible years with Sophia Lafranc as our team leader and captain. And, Sophia is just so special. She ended up being the America East Midfielder of the Year. And, she just had such an impact daily in training, but also as that player that you knew you could rely on in matches to make the difference. And she was incredible, and she's a huge reason why we got to that point. Won the championship in 24, and then last year making the final. And I think if we could have her back, I would do so in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'll bet. Kristi Huizenga, you've got your first match coming up pretty quick, right? Wednesday. And who's that going to be against?
Merrimack.
Okay. What are some of the things that you are most looking forward to this season as far as the team makeup, what you see already? You must see some strengths emerging already in practice, et cetera.
For sure. I think last year, despite our success overall, we just lost one conference game and then obviously hosting the championship. And despite that, we were a little thinner than I would have liked depth-wise. And so that kind of ran us a little thin all year, and was not very characteristic for us. We're a team that likes to go deeper into our bench. And so this year, right away, the freshmen have come in really strong. We've added a couple of transfers that have been able to make impacts right away. So I'm really looking forward to, especially in these non-conference games, just seeing what our new faces are capable of and how they blend with the returning group.
And Kate, what about you? I'm wondering about that depth question as well that Kristi was referring to. I noticed that a lot in watching the World Cup games. I never realized how important substitutions are and having those fresh players come out. What about the depth on UVM's team for field hockey?
Yeah, it's so critical. I think the squad size this year, we have 25 on the roster right now, and that's a few more than we've had the past couple of years. And similar to Kristi, I think, as the game's changing and it's always getting faster and more physical, it seems. And, you just want to make sure that as you move through the season, you can maintain that high standard of play in matches. But also in training, I've seen our depth improve tremendously over the past decade. And just watching the quality of our training improve, I think that's been a huge part of what's led us to postseason success, and I think we're excited to see our first-year players come in and really be able to step into the tempo that we're playing at, and their skill level is helping to raise the bar in some ways, which is always a positive thing when you have a strong returning group as well.
Yeah, for sure. When does your season start? When's your first game?
We have our first match on August 28th against Northeastern. It's here at UVM on Molten Winder Field.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's get folks out there for that. Kristi Huizenga, I have to wonder about, we're only a couple of years now, I guess, removed from the men's team winning the D1 National Championship, which I still think has not gotten enough attention. I am still blown away by that. What a run they had. Is there, the men's and women's teams have had such great success over the last few years. Is there an awareness of that? Do you think it builds the culture and helps both teams ultimately?
I think there is. And I think certainly, the presence of the Vermont green over the summer and then everything that they've done just kind of continues that momentum. And I think that, the green's existence in general has just been great for Vermont. It's been great for Burlington and for the community.
And the way the fans took to it too.
For sure. And I think, it kind of feels like a lot of us, program-wise at UVM have been here all along. And then all of a sudden, the men are winning. We hosted every female final in the America East. The program won, or the UVM won the Commissioner's Cup. So the most success competitively on the field. And I think that's just speaking volumes. And it kind of feels to us like we've kind of been here all along, waiting to break through. And then all of a sudden, there's more attention and more national attention. And, it's just great to see, and it's
about time, right?
It's about time, and it's certainly rewarding for all the work that everyone's been putting in.
And the future is looking like it could be quite bright as well, because as we're speaking now, UVM is going to get I think a much needed upgrade to its sporting facilities. Are you excited about that, Kate?
Very much so. I think, it will be something that is a source of pride for all of the student athletes, the entire staff. I think it's been something that we've been looking forward to be able to celebrate our success in a visual way, and be able to have those banners on display and be able to see the trophies in one location, kind of not sprinkled around the department, but really to see it visually, what's been accomplished, because it's tremendous and it deserves that. And I think, that success that Kristi's speaking to, the climate and just the atmosphere for the student athletes, when we recruit those student athletes, it's just so wonderful to know that they're coming into a community that really values winning. And that's what we've been doing, and it's what we're going to continue to do.
And you have to see that commitment shown in a tangible way to say, yes, we care about it, but now you can say, okay, now we don't have just what looks like a high school gym. Nothing against Patrick Gym, for example.
That's right.
But, we've got to upgrade those facilities to get the higher quality players in on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
Kristi Huizenga, I have to wonder about, again, is there... I mentioned before about the motivation, trying to get over, what happened last year in the final, but you also don't want to let, anger or, the bad emotions get in the way of the play on the field. How do you temper that idea of we want to get back on top and be number one with, we also have to play smart, we have to be strategic. What do you tell the women?
I think they're pretty good about being able to kind of separate things. And it sounds as corny as it sounds and cliche as it sounds. We are one day at a time, focusing on making sure that we complete the task, complete the mission. And that's right from showing up to the training room on time, making sure we're prepared for training, to making sure the bus is completely cleaned when we get back from a trip. And I think just focusing on making sure we're present every single day, start to finish, is just the biggest thing for them, and consistency. So last year that was a big focus, and they kind of saw that pay off. And I think we've got enough returning players that embody that and buy into that I think that will be the same mission this year.
Yeah, you love to have that nice combination of the freshmen coming in who are new to this, but also those seasoned veterans now who've been there a year, 2 years, 3 years. They have so much they can impart to the younger players too. Kate Pfeifer, how do you talk to your team at the start of the season? Like, do you have an overall message to them, or is it just like game by game roll out a different message?
Yeah, we're in that formative stage right now, so we're actually doing a lot of work around what they want our specific season core values to be with this group. And we talk about them as Team 48, so the 48th team to, take the field at UVM to represent the field hockey program. And, they take it pretty seriously, just thinking about the words that are going to hold some meaning that they can rally around, and just what they want to get out of the season as a unit. And this is a really fun time to see the leadership start to really set in, and just hear from them about what they think the biggest challenges are going to be, and kind of set out in a fresh place, but a place that, like Kristi's saying, we've got to stay really, really in the moment, not get too far ahead of ourselves and take it day by day. I love that idea of completing the task at hand, and just, making sure we're doing things in an efficient and thorough way. This is where we set the tone for everything we do.
For last question for both of you, just personally feeling, I wonder if you get sort of the butterflies in your own stomachs around this time of year. I mean, this is exciting. I can't wait for fall sports. Obviously, UVM sports has done so well lately. What's your feeling as you approach this new season, Kristi? Let me start with you.
I think just excitement. Yeah, for sure. I really look forward to, I know how hard they train over the summer, and I'm just honestly just excited for them, just feeling like trying to stay connected to what it's like to be a player. I'm always I feel like the older I get, I'm almost at 20 years here at UVM, which is crazy. But I try really hard to stay kind of connected to that, and excited to see them play and get the opportunity to showcase what they've been training for all summer and all off season.
And Kate Pfeifer, with 14 years already under your belt, do you still get excited when the new season comes upon you?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we work all year long preparing in the off season, and training and grinding and recruiting. And it's just really fun to anticipate what it's all going to look like, sort of that Christmas Eve jitters, that you get. What is this truly going to look like when we all show up together? And then as it starts to take formation, and you can see the possibilities, I think that's just a really special thing and a really fun part of being a coach.
Well, I wish you both the greatest success this upcoming season. Thank you so much for speaking with us today on the Sports Report. Kristi Huizenga, the head coach for UVM's women's soccer team, and also Kate Pfeifer, the head coach for UVM field hockey team. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks for tuning into the Sports Report. If you missed any of today's show, you can find it on our YouTube channel, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. The Sports Report crew is taking a break next week from producing a full episode, but you will still be able to find a fresh high five in the podcast feed on Monday. Find out more about the show and how to get in touch with us at vermontpublic.org/sports. The Sports Report is a production of Vermont Public, produced by Nathaniel Wilson. The technical director is Mike Dunn, with Kyle Ambisk on audio and video production assistance from Dave Rice. Our audio engineer is Jake Rusnock. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond.